Hey everyone! I'm super excited to bring you a hands-on problem-solving session on CVP analysis. In our last video, we covered the core concepts, and today we'll tackle real CMA USA exam-style questions. By the end, you'll be confident in applying these concepts practically. So grab a notebook and let's dive in. Stay till the end for bonus questions and expert tips. Recap of CVP analysis. Basics. Break-even point BEP equals fixed costs divided by contribution margin per unit. Contribution margin CM equals sales price minus variable cost per unit. Target profit formula, fixed costs plus target profit divided by CM per unit. A quick refresher before we begin. CVP analysis helps businesses understand how costs, volume, and profit interact. It's essential for decision-making, pricing strategies, and setting sales targets. Now let's solve some real-world questions. Welcome to our lecture on break-even analysis. Today we'll be discussing the impact of changes in fixed costs and variable cost ratios on the break-even level of revenues. Let's begin with our original scenario. Original fixed costs, $800,000. Contribution margin ratio, CMR, 1.0 minus 0.68, which is sales minus variable costs. Original break-even point, $2,500,000. Now let's examine the changes. Reduced fixed costs, $700,000. Increased ratio of variable costs to sales, 80%. With these changes, the new break-even level is calculated as new break-even point, $3,500,000. Formula fixed costs divided by 1.0 minus variable cost ratio. Calculation $700,000 divided by 1.0 minus 0.80. In summary, by reducing fixed costs from $800,000 to $700,000 and increasing the variable cost ratio from 68% to 80%, the new break-even level is $3,500,000. Thus, there is an increase of $1 million. Let's tackle another intriguing question. Question 2. What happens to the break-even level of revenues when fixed costs increase by $31,500, while all other cost or revenue factors remain the same? How does this affect the break-even point in units? Previous break-even point calculation. Previous BEP in units equals 210,000 divided by 10 minus 7, which equals 70,000 units. New break-even point calculation. New BEP in units equals 210,000 plus 31,500 divided by 3, which equals 80,500 units. In this scenario, we observed that the fixed costs increased by $31,500, bringing the total fixed cost to $241,500. With the selling price per unit at $10 and the variable cost per unit at $7, the contribution margin per unit remains $3. By applying the BEP formula, we calculated the new break-even point as 80,500 units. Note the direct relationship between changes in fixed costs and the BEP. As the fixed costs increase, the break-even point also increases. To summarize, an increase in fixed costs leads to a higher break-even point. This means that the company must sell more units to cover the increased fixed costs and reach profitability. Question 3. What happens when the variable costs increase by 1/3 and we want to maintain the same contribution margin ratio as last year? How do we determine the new selling price required to achieve this? Last year's contribution margin ratio. Let's start by examining last year's data. The unit contribution margin, or UCM, was calculated as unit sales price, USP, minus unit variable cost, UVC. For last year, we had UCM equals $7.50 minus $2.25, which equals $5.25. The contribution margin ratio, or CMR, was CMR equals $7.50 minus $2.25, divided by $7.50, which equals 70%. Variable cost increase. Now let's consider the increase in variable costs by 1/3. The new unit variable cost, UVC, is UVC equals $2.25 plus $2.25 multiplied by 1/3, which equals $3. Determining the new selling price, SP. To maintain the same contribution margin ratio, CMR of 70%, we need to find the new selling price. Since the variable cost VC is 30% of sales, we can set up the equation $3 equals 30% multiplied by X. Solving for X, we get X equals $3 divided by 0.30. Therefore, the new selling price, SP, required to maintain the same CMR is SP equals $10. To summarize, by increasing the variable cost by 1/3, the new selling price required to maintain the same contribution margin ratio as last year is $10. Thank you for joining me in this lecture. Stay tuned for more insights in our upcoming sessions. Subscribe for more CMA USA problem-solving sessions. If you found this useful, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more CMA USA problem-solving videos.